26. Everybody's excited. School is just about over. Graduations are happening. You get that feeling in your gut back in your day, Brian, of when school was out. And
that was a good thing, yeah.
Yeah. Did you like us? A lot of people miss school. They don't know what to do in the summer when school is out.
I think when I was growing up in school, I felt like summer was the regular time and school was the interrupted time that was getting me out of my routine.
Okay. All right. That's interesting. But remember graduating, it was exciting. It was kind of like being thrown off the cliff in a way because everybody's like, well, what are you going to do? It's like, well, I got to whatever and pressure on kids. Like, some, they haven't made a decision of college, which one, if they're going at all, if they're going to work and all that. Suddenly you find yourself kind of free falling a little bit. And then everybody's asking you, what are you going to do? Don Foley, how you doing, buddy?
Excellent. How are you doing this morning, sir?
Don Foley's the PIO, basically. Is that the right title?
That works, but I'm the communication coordinator for the district.
All right. So I called Don and I go, I'd like to do a show on just the end of the school year in Flagler County with the public schools, like what was good, what was bad, what are the challenges, what's coming up and everything. So you were kind of my producer and you put everybody together today. So if you're watching us on TV, on YouTube and Facebook right now, you can see we have a room full of people. So let's go with the introductions and tell us, why did you pick who you picked to be here today?
Well, to my right, studio right, is Nancy Anderson. She is with Custodial Services. And obviously, as we get to the end of the school year and going into a summer filled with schools with no students in them, there's a lot of preparation going on, a lot of things we have to look forward to. Nancy speaks to that. And, of course, we have Joshua Walker, our new Chief of Human Resources here, obviously new to the spot, but vested in the community. Kids go to the school here. He's a Matanzas product. Very nice to hear from him, and he has a lot of interesting insight that he brings to the school district. And, of course, Ryan Deasing, Chief of IT and Innovation, and Dr. Angela O'Brien, our Assistant Superintendent. Somewhere on that phone system over there, though, is also LaShaka Moore in beautiful South Florida, and can't wait to talk to you as well.
Hey, LaShaka, are you with us?
I am with you. Hello, how are you? I'm so excited to be on today. And I hope we have an opportunity to talk a little bit about what we're doing to help ensure our students are free falling when they graduate. And so it is a pleasure to be here with you today.
All right. So you're in Miami. I know you would love to live in Miami, right?
I would not love to live in Miami. I love being in Flagler County. I am here in Miami at a safety summit that's put on by our Commissioner of Education for the Department of Education for Florida. So here with me in Miami are superintendent and college and university president for the state of Florida. And we're talking about safety.
Oh, that's what everybody's in Miami talking about safety?
Absolutely. We're all here talking about safety within our pre-K 20 system. So we have some safety representatives here in the room. We have law enforcement and different business partners here, but it's really all about how do we work every day to ensure that our students are safe on campus and in our schools, be it that they are in the K-12 system or they are in the post-secondary system at our colleges and universities.
Okay. Brian McMillan.
Hi, LaShaka. Glad to hear your voice.
Hi, Brian. It's great to hear your voice.
There was I think for a while after, some of the shootings, say 10 years ago, the big buzz about school safety was about hardening and about, getting IDs checked before visitors entered the school district. Do you feel like there's any shift in what is the buzz about school safety now?
I think in the last 10 years, we have come a very long way when it comes to school safety. And I want to just take a moment to first thank our community through the half-cent sales tax referendum. We've been able to really accomplish that work that was set out by our state around school hardening. And so we have really improved in that. I mean, we have all of our doors are locked, of course, at all times, gates locked, one single point of entry onto our campuses. We've increased our guardian and or law enforcement presence on all of our campuses across the state of Florida. So a lot of work has been done, and the really push right now is how do we transfer that from K-12 into post-secondary? Unfortunately, we have had some incidents on our college campuses, and so our governor, we anticipate him being here with us today, actually, to come in and talk about that work. So all of us in the room are anticipating his possible arrival today to really talk about what does that look like as we move safety into our post-secondary colleges and universities.
You know, when, it was funny, Brian, all of a sudden you jump to, you know, guns and shootings and things like that to it. But I was looking at LaShaka on this is the National Education of Public Schools. They listed the top 10 concerns and challenges. And number 5, because also that would fall under bullying and cyberbullying as far as safety of students. And then number 6 was student attitudes and behaviors and things. Are kids worse today, LaShaka, when they were years ago, or are they just getting a lot of publicity about it?
I don't know that kids are worse today. I think it's just different environments that they're living in. I think some of these things were present. We just did not have social media and the opportunity to spread it across the world within seconds or minutes of us, you know, just going live on our social media or those things. But when you talk about bullying, cyberbullying, student emotional state and need, I believe that here in the state of Florida, we are doing a really good job of providing those supports and resources to our students. There should not be a family out in our community, be it that they are in public, private, home education, charter, that says my child is needing a service that is related to their mental well-being and them not being able to get that because the work that has been done to provide those services is extremely great. And I know that here in our community, it doesn't matter to us where the student is. It matters to us that we get them the supports and services that they need, and I think we do a really good job at that. So to answer your question, I don't know that they're worse today. I think it's just a different environment that we live in and different resources that are available, that are positive, and some can be negative as well that they are exposed to.
Well, I think it's important to, like, you'll never see a headline in the Palm Coast Observer, child behaves at school today. Right, Brian?
Well, you know what? We should, because
Actually,
90+% of our students do not ever get in trouble at school.
you could see the paper is full of state champion athletes, seniors with scholarships. So there's a ton going on. I mean, I think the more you see that, the more you realize, like,
That's true.
You know,
and also today on the radio, I was listening to Mike Licio does the our school's sports report, and I was blown away at how many names he mentioned. Everything across, Matanzas and FPC. I was like, I was going to call him and go, "Good God, man, how do you get all this information?" But he named. There must have been 20 kids named that did great things in sports, whether it be softball and coaches and things like that. So. Yeah, that is important. In a lot of bigger communities, the news media can't do that.
yeah. How many kids got scholarships?
We're over 200, and it's just in the hundreds of thousands and continues to grow every year. It's a great program that we have through our Flagler County Education Foundation. I was going to say that my favorite part of my job this week was actually getting to order more of the signs that we award when we recognize our state champions at our June board meeting. Mm-hmm. We give them the placards that say "Home of a State Champion," and we actually had ran out of one school and we were low on the other, and I get to order more. I was like, what a great feeling, though. And especially as far as going to there's never a headline that says, hey, great student today. But actually, it's a great partnership. What the Observer does, what all our media partners do, and they're putting it out there, showing everything that we do. I mean, they cover things. I can't tell you how many times where I went, you know what, I didn't know that happened. I've got to follow up. It's so we sort of scratch each other's back and help in that way, making sure those good news stories get out.
Okay. All right. Very good. But we're going to have more with you, LaShaka. Then we're going to cut you loose because we've got everybody else to talk to today, including Dr. Angelo Bryan, who is here. So we don't want to, have her upstaged by the superintendent. So anyway, how you doing there, Dr. Angelo Bryan?
Doing great.
You're our assistant superintendent, right?
I am.
So you're LaShaka's lieutenant, right-hand man, all that stuff?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, that's right.
All right, so when we get LaShaka off the phone, we'll ask you questions about her. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. But the truth of it is that everybody statewide is losing. The public schools are losing students. I think 300 and some we lost, and at 9,000. I mean, it's like it's causing, an attrition. We're bleeding students. We're bleeding money into the public school system. What is the trend? What do you see? And I'm sure that's got to be part of the discussion in Miami down there.
It's very little of the discussion here in Miami. I think the discussions have been had. This is the direction that we are going as a state. And, I think what's important for me is that as community members, people really keep their ear to it and identify if it's something that you support or if it's something that you do not support. But for us within the school district, what we are really focused on is ensuring that we provide great opportunities to the students of Flagler County, and that more of them choose us full time. However, we do have many of those students who are electing to take the scholarship or the voucher program, however you want to call it. We have many of those students who still choose us. They are receiving the voucher, but they're coming to us, be it part-time or some full-time as well. And we have those students that are in the home school environment, students that are in the private school environment that are coming and looking for opportunities to really expand that more. And so, yes, we do see that happening across the state where students are electing to take the voucher program. But I think it's very important to understand that not every student that is taking the voucher is automatically just leaving the public school system. Some of them are staying with us in different capacities.
Okay. How are we doing? Do we have enough teachers? I guess we have plenty. We're not looking to build any new schools, right? And we have Joshua Walker here, right? Is your job to recruit teachers?
Absolutely. It's a part of all of it. So when we look at it and we look at our student enrollment rate and the changing landscape in education, what we as a district have been able to do throughout probably the past 10 years is being fiscally responsible with our resources. And what that means is when we grew in smart ways so that in the event that we had to maybe restrict or take a hard look at what we are doing in our schools, we have the ability, when you look compared to other districts, we haven't had to do a reduction in force and have massive layoffs or anything like that. We've really been able to reinvest within our own schools, our staff, our faculty to be able to say, hey, this is the area's number one, it's our largest employer. And frankly, I believe it's one of the best places to work in our area.
All right. And you're Flagler School's product, right?
I am.
So when you were growing up at Matanzas, right, when you graduated, were you thinking like, I want to work here?
So funny thing with that is I graduated from Matanzas in May of the year I graduated and immediately went to work for the schools in that August. So I started my family at a young age, was able to find work with the custodial department back in 2015. So as soon as I graduated high school, I went right to work for the schools.
What did you do in the custodial department?
So I started off as a nighttime custodian, and I was in with that department working at a variety of schools for about 4.5 years before I made my first foray into HR.
Very cool.
Yeah. Don't all the kids love the custodians?
They really do. No, they truly do. When I was at Bunnell Elementary, and Miss Anderson can attest to this, the kids just love to be able to help out. They wanna be loved on and see significant adults be in their life and just ask them how their day's going. So many kids are going, how can I ask to help? Wipe tables, sweep. If you show them that appreciation and attention, they want to be able to give back.
Mm-hmm. All right. Okay. Well, that's kind of cool. And also, we have with us Nancy Moore, right?
Nancy Anderson.
Anderson. Where did I
Yes.
come up with Moore? I don't know. Anyway, Nancy Anderson, tell us, because the custodial of all the schools in Flagler County, that's your responsibility?
Yes.
What do you do? Get close to that microphone. Tell us, what is your job? What's your official title?
My official title is custodial director.
Oh, okay. And so what do you do? What's your responsibility?
My responsibilities, we have over 150 custodians throughout the district, employees. And under our umbrella, we have the movers, we have the painters, we have the mail carriers. So custodians, we know what custodian janitorials do is clean and disinfect.
All right.
So do you have a mail department, like delivering mail?
Carrier. Yes, throughout the district, internal mail. Yes.
Internal mail. How much mail is shuffled around from school to school? I would imagine it can be a lot.
Yes, it is. And we do include Imagine School. We do internal mail through there and technology.
So you're talking about mail that is sent from the district office and distributed to, like, every teacher might get some piece of mail sometimes?
Or it can be from school to school, or it can be from school to students.
Look, Brian's amazed by that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Well,
that's like old school, right? Where
Well,
they go, hey, mail pickup.
I actually spent a couple hours yesterday helping to resolve, like, we mailed 6,000 copies of the Observer yesterday, and I was just realizing, like, this is a really big scale operation we're doing right now.
Yeah.
But I don't really think of there being a mail delivery within the school district. But when you got 13,000 students or so, hundreds and hundreds of other employees, I mean, communicating to them in all the different ways is a huge task. So that part of that falls under custodial. So,
Absolutely.
All right.
it's interesting.
And if I can just add to this, Brian, anytime our students are in the Palm Coast Observer, I do send them a copy of the article where they're included with a handwritten note from me. And so I'm
Very
putting
cool.
forth some of that mail.
Well, how cool is that?
That's pretty
right?
cool.
All right, very good. Hey, LaShaka, before we let you go, overall, like if somebody said, what were the top 3 things that were great for Flagler County schools this year, what pops into your head?
First thing is our Diploma Plus. We've done a better job of ensuring that every single one of our students that are in high school are selecting a Diploma Plus option. So we are helping them to identify if they're going into their career, are they going to the military, they're going to college, they're going to a trade school, and we're making sure that they have all the next steps that we can provide to them in order to do that. I think we've done a much better in the area of safety and security and academic success. We are super excited and watching as the scores come in, as our students are finalizing state assessments this week. And I do hope that our community recognizes the great success that we've had around academic success, and we continue to have that moving forward.
Okay, Brian?
Do you? I saw you speak at a chamber event a few months ago, maybe, and it seemed like you were saying that the data suggests that Flagler Schools is going to be an A, but I can't remember exactly. You were like, I think we got this under control. So that was the message I got. So tell me, give us your prediction.
I think that we are definitely on the path of being an A. What happens is, as the state continues to improve, we have a sliding scale clause within our calculation. And so as the state improves, the numbers shift and move. Whereas like years before, it's like when you hit this particular number, then you're an A. Well, if a certain percentage of districts hit that A, the number moves. So it's a sliding scale that we're up against. And so what it really means is that we have to grow faster than the other districts across the state. And so we are positioned in a good place. And so we'll see in a few weeks what that comes out to be.
So no prediction?
No prediction right now, but great things happening for sure. And that's the thing, is not just about that final letter grade, but really looking at every category and seeing. And right now, as I look in every single category, we are green, meaning we've done better than ourselves last year, as well as we are outpacing the state in every category but one. So we're hopeful that pays off to an A. If not, I'm still proud of the hard work of our educators and our students.
All right. Well, hey, LaShaka, we're proud of you. LaShaka kind of worked you worked your way up through the whole system here in Flagler County. What did you?
I did.
What did you start as? I remember interviewing as a teacher, a principal. Where was your start? Where was your starting point?
I started as a teacher, and I tell people all the time, I am still a teacher at heart, and in your room with you, you see the power of people being able to move up through the system with Ryan Deason, Nancy Anderson, Joshua Walker. All of these individuals started within our organization, and now they've moved their way up to be leaders in their departments. And so that's the power of what we get to do here in Flagler County.
Well, I've seen good school districts with a good culture and leadership, and I've seen bad ones, and I can say we're very blessed to have you here in Flagler County.
Thank you. Thank you. That means a lot. Thank you so much.
All right, we got to go. Have a good weekend. Be safe in Miami.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to take a break. We'll be back. Flagler Schools. A lot more to talk about, and some great people here that dedicate their lives to our kids. We return on Free for All Friday.
Hey man, yo-yos, that's the way you do it. You play the guitar on MTV.
Locals know where locals go.
$7 cheese pizzas on Mondays and Thursdays. $1 wing day on Tuesday. $7.50 pulled pork with fries on Wednesday. Happy hour specials all week long.
Johnny D's Beach Bar and Grill. We're waiting for you. Koala Insulation.
Flagler County and Palm Coast, hey, we've all felt it. Between FP&L rate hikes and Palm Coast's rising water costs, our utility bills are outrageous. But folks can do something about it. Koala Insulation will make your home more energy efficient, saving you money on those electric bills while making you more comfortable in the process. Contact family, veteran-owned Koala Insulation today. Schedule your no-charge in-home consultation at koalainsulation.com.
Hey, it's Lauren Ramirez. Get your kids signed up now for Salus Medical Training's Youth Medical Academy. Your child can finish the summer with up to 6 medical certifications, including babysitting and CPR. Scholarships are available. Dates and info on the Salus Medical Training Facebook page.
If you want the best, you must request. Preferred partner of the VA and long-term care insurance companies, request Seniors Helping Seniors in-home care services to be your provider. Hi, I'm Mike Walters. As Seniors Helping Seniors, we believe the best care comes from those who truly understand. That's why our caregivers are mature adults who bring compassion, companionship, and real-life experience into every home across Flagler, St. Johns, and Volusia counties. Visit SeniorsHelpingSeniors.com to learn more, request help, or apply to join our team. Seniors Helping Seniors, because the best care feels like family.
On the water, beyond belief. Veranda Bay.
Hi, this is Ken Belshie at Veranda Bay, inviting you to see over 40 new, never-released home sites. VerandaBay.com.
Veranda Bay.
We're back, Free for All Friday, 9:32 on this 15th day of May, 2026. Everybody in the studio seems pretty positive, upbeat, and excited. Ryan Deasing, you're always pumped up and excited. Tell everybody what you do as Chief of Technology for Flagler County Schools.
Well, thanks, Dave. I always enjoy getting a chance to come out and have a conversation. I'm the Chief of Technology for Flagler Schools. I get to help our students and teachers and support them in their classrooms. As you look at what technology and where it's going and where it's came from, I've got just a fantastic group that is able really to support all of our organization, not just our classroom students, but as well as all of our organization across the board. Mm-hmm. My friends here in custodial and teaching and learning, as well as HR. We don't have anybody from finance today, but we have the opportunity to work across the organization.
All right, Brian.
So, how many devices do you deal with? Like, does every kid have a device, and what grade up?
Yes. So we do have a device for each student. I'll tell you the total number.
We're talking about a laptop, right? Or
tablets, laptops
tablet,
for students.
Right. Yeah, okay.
Teachers have devices as well. But across the district, we have about 16,000 devices that we support. And that includes tablets, laptops, printers, IoT stuff that we're working through, all of the cameras, a lot of the safety security systems, all of the access control. So there's a pretty good swath of stuff.
So do you wipe them during the summer, to get them ready for the fall? We're talking about
collections, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
we do. We collect all of those devices. We make sure that they're in good shape. We go through. We make sure that they have all the latest software as everything is updated. That we have all of the applications that are needed for the following year. So we work closely with our teaching and learning team on what those would look like for each one of those grade levels. So we have them all set up so that when we get back to July timeframe, they're all set up and ready to go. So we hand those devices out. Again, it'll be this summer. We'll be releasing the dates pretty soon here, but it'll be up at Indian Trails again. So families will have the opportunity to pick up 2-3 devices on one trip there.
So with that in mind, there's so many incredible educational benefits to having a device in everybody's hands. I mean, first of all, the hassle of all the books probably is reduced somewhat. But also just multimedia ways of teaching, it's incredible. But I've also seen some things, and I think probably a lot of parents feel this fatigue of having the devices, and I saw a story recently where some of the students, even the younger students, where you think like they're so excited to have a tablet or a Chromebook or whatever it would be, they also kind of like having the paper and pencil sometimes and have a little break from it all. And so I was wondering, Dr. O'Brien too, but what is your take on, like, is there any kind of trend a little bit away from everything is on a device?
Well, I'll give Dr. O'Brien a chance to respond, but I'll give kind of where my team and where we take this. Is really, if you, and I would invite you, we have an opportunity to tour our schools, to contact our Flagler County Education Foundation. But I will say, like, when you look at where we're at for our elementary, those devices are not used all day long. They're used in very intentional very intentional times with very intentional purpose and outcomes. So you won't see students just sitting in a classroom scrolling, YouTube or something. Like, it is very specific. We have very defined tools, and those devices are set up to be learning devices. They're not set up like what you would expect when you see, your grandsons or whoever, granddaughters tablet that's sitting there and they're just kind of scrolling through YouTube shorts or those types of things. It's
so
very intense.
For the record, I'm not a grandparent yet. But.
Well, you will be. So like a kid can't go to DraftKings and make bets in school.
No. So we have a lot of filtering that's in place, and I will say, that is always a work in progress. Filters, as we know, are a great tool, but they also require a lot of maintenance. You'd be surprised. Kids have some time, and that's one of the things that we look at. Why we have some of the folks on our team that we do to hold the line and make sure that we're constantly watching and making sure that when there's concerns that are brought up, that we investigate them and address them.
Don Foley.
And I'll just say, I'm on my third year here, about to start my third year with the school district, and so I can still play I'm on the outside looking in, I'm the new guy, and I strongly encourage, given what Ryan's saying, anyone who wants to do a tour, reach out to our foundation, because the one thing you see right away is what we're talking about, and Brian and I, we've had this conversation a time or two, and it's this. When you go into a classroom, the engagement is not what you and I remember from school. Yeah, there are devices, but again, the word intentional, that's perfect for it. There is no one just scrolling the internet. There is no one just looking up their favorite trending video. It is very much an engagement that every time I go in, I'm not expecting. From kindergarten through 12th, the way they use devices and how they keep them engaged. I'm going to tell you right now, we weren't that engaged. And we probably enjoyed school more than your average student. They're amazing, top to bottom. They use it well, and it actually has an incredible outcome.
I guess the time wasting part is that's one aspect, and that's good to know that that's not like, a big, it doesn't seem like it's a big problem, but it's more just like, if you can learn things on a device and you can learn things without the device, I think that maybe, to me, some of the conventional wisdom was kind of like, so exciting how much we can use the technology, but just time away from it seems like there's a little bit more. I feel like there's a societal trend a little bit more toward it's kind of good to unplug also. So anyway, that's more I guess what I was thinking about.
I'll just chime in and say it's a balance. There's no doubt, and especially with the number of devices that young folks have access to, it is a community way to look at this, but I would say, again, there's a difference between what's happening in a classroom on those educational devices compared to what you would see otherwise. But I think Dr. O'Brien has a bit she can add to
Right.
that.
Dr. Angela O'Brien hasn't been able to get a word in edgewise here. She's our assistant superintendent. Welcome to Free for All Friday.
Thank you. So happy to be here. I think what you would find is that technology in our classrooms is really used as a tool. It's not our primary method of delivering instruction. There was a little bit of talk about pen and paper as well, and we really have a balance. When we purchase our instructional materials, we purchase digital and print as well, so that we've got a balance for our students. So we call them consumables. You'll still see those kind of workbook to supplement the learning that's going on in the classroom.
They say this is national, so I don't know about here in Flagler County or statewide, but reading and basic math and reading levels have generationally declined. They're as bad as they were in 1980. And for some reason, kids aren't grasping it or whatever. I mean, a lot of them are brilliant. I get all that. We're talking about the ones that aren't, that have struggled. And as you get older, it's harder and harder to learn. Would you agree with that?
I would say so, that it is harder and harder to learn as we get older.
Yeah. So those early years, like the Early Learning Coalition that we have here and all that, is so important for parents to get their kids involved, engaged in reading and doing all those bedtime things maybe but parents today are different too, because they're working 2-3 jobs. You've got a lot of single parents. You've got financial problems in the household and distractions from all those kind of things. Is it tougher to be a parent today than it was in 1980, you think?
I think so. I would say, though, a lot of parents think that they have to do that heavy lift of teaching their children how to read and teaching them their letters and all those things. Really what we're asking before they land in pre-K or kindergarten with us is just talk to them, read to them. It's not much more than that. I think with a lot of the screen time that we have going on in homes, there's less social interaction, and that may be attributing to that decline that we're seeing.
Mm-hmm. I was also thinking that this year's graduating class was in the 8th grade during COVID. That was 2020, right? So we're looking like 6 years ago. Would you see any difference? And this is from all you guys. I mean, it really was something that affected all of us in all different ways. But kids, in school, and you can't go to school in fear. I mean, in confusion and whatever is going on to it. Is there a long-lasting result that kids? It has to have kind of rewired brains in some way. Do you see or feel any of that, Dr. O'Brien?
Yeah, so in terms of student behavior, we did see an uptick in absenteeism. So students not coming to school or parents choosing to keep them home. We've seen an uptick in some mental health concerns. And so to speak about earlier, what has the state done regarding safety? I would say mental health, allocating funds toward that has been a big piece. So we're really leveraging those funds to help support our students. But we are seeing some concerns on that front. Yeah.
The whole homeschool thing, I know that I needed public schools, because if I was homeschool, I would be, parents are away or whatever. I don't know what I'd be doing, but it probably wouldn't be homeschool. But that's tough to keep a kid focused, because I know, not even sure what grade they're in. It's like a blur as far as, they're by themselves. They're supposed to do these projects and things, and their teacher or facilitator is online and dealing with them, and they have a month to get these projects done online for their grades. It just seems so diffused. It seems like lack of structure. I just don't see how that can be a good thing for a kid.
Well, the traditional, I think what we think about homeschool has really changed over the past 5 to 10 years. So we're seeing a lot of different models out there, some co-ops, groups of families getting together, certified teachers going into that space and being and leading homeschool.
You mean like physically being together?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
In person. And so we also see the virtual instruction as well, and then the more traditional homeschool where the parent is a teacher with those curriculum resources, at the dining room table. We see all sorts of trends. But yes, you're right. There is that flexibility that they establish the grade that they're in and what their transcript looks like. And from the public school end, when they come back to public school, if they come back to public school, we accept that at face value.
Because, I think with the public schools, we talk about, reading, math and all that, but learning to socialize is a huge thing with the diversity of people and how you get along. And I've always said, nobody really, but, a little bit of bullying toughened you up back in the day and you had a fight and
No
you became
tolerance.
friends. Okay.
Bullying is bad.
I know everybody hates that, but I think there's a value to, preparing you for the real world that, there is resistance and you will have challenges, and how do you deal with it, and how do you, get tough about it, or how do you de-escalate and all those sort of things. I think that's a huge part of public school learning for kids, preparing them for the world.
You're right. We learn through practice, and when you don't have a lot of opportunities to be social with others and to be in conflict and really build those resilience skills, it can be tough for a kid.
Well, let's dig into the personal life of Dr. Angela O'Brien here. We talked about everybody else. Where are you from?
I am from Pennsylvania, a one-stoplight town called Littlestown, and I've been here for about 6 years.
So how did you end up here?
I took a tour of the coast starting in Key West and found this little beach town, St. Augustine Beach. So I actually live in St. Johns County.
Okay. All right. And so how did you get to be the assistant superintendent?
So I've worked a lot of years as a behavior analyst and in the private school space for students with needs, special education. So the model's a little bit different in Pennsylvania. So a lot of students that we would serve in our schools here in Florida are in private day schools. Where you contract with the public school district. So spent a lot of time doing that. When I moved down here, I applied for a job within HR, actually. It was a director of organizational talent, really working with leadership development within our district. And then from there, Miss Moore brought me on board.
So Joshua hired you?
No.
No, okay.
But he could have been your boss.
He could have.
So real quick, Angela and I had the opportunity to work together it was a really fast and brief, 6 months.
Yes.
She was already in the department when I had come back from being the coordinator of community services with the district. So we had a really great opportunity to learn and grow together. And then all of a sudden I heard, okay, well, Angela's leaving and is now going to be the assistant superintendent. So then my role adjusted a little bit as supervisor, and now we get to work together again.
Yeah.
Wasn't that a big jump to be the assistant superintendent?
It was a big jump. It is more aligned with the work that I was doing in Pennsylvania and Ohio. But yes, within our organization, it was a jump.
All right.
What do you think is the biggest impact that you and LaShaka Moore, as like a 1-2 punch, what do you do to make Flagler schools, move Flagler forward?
Yeah. So I think our biggest impact has been developing systems so that the work our folks are doing is predictable. And so that they know exactly, what we expect of them. And she jokes all the time. She says, my gut is research-based, but I really love, I'm a data geek. And so she's like, it's my gut and you bring the research. And so we've really used, improvement science. It's a thing. And so we have put that into place with the work that we're doing so that we can be sure that students are learning. And,
But don't allow her and
Don
Ms.
Foley,
Moore
yeah.
and our superintendent cabinet to downplay it. They're all teachers at heart. And for someone who didn't come through K through 12 when I came on board, it's been a blessing to see. And the teachers in the schools, the principals, they see that when they come in. They don't see, here comes the boss lady. They see there's one more person that's helping me find whatever way it takes to get kids where they need to be. It's really a pleasure to work with, and it's a pleasure to watch the other people see them. We've all had bosses in our lives where you walk through somewhere, here comes the boss. You know, they're going to have us doing X, Y, and Z. It's not exciting. They get excited about those appearances and what can they do to help. So they definitely have that impact as well.
Well, I know our superintendent, LaShaka, is smart enough to know that she knows her own strengths and weaknesses, and you want an assistant that kind of fills the gaps on your own weaknesses. So, and usually weaknesses are stuff we don't like to do, and our strengths are the things we love to do. So how does that work? How do you guys, work together as Batman and Robin kind of a thing?
So I would say from a teaching and learning standpoint, she is super strong from the literacy perspective, and we know that was an area that we needed to target. And my background is behavior and special education, and so that's been, I would say, from the teaching and learning standpoint, that's been a way that we complement each other.
When you talk about systems, are you talking about in the administration office at the district level, or are you talking about principals or teachers, or do you do some of all of that?
It's a little bit of both. So standardizing our processes operationally around the district, but then also ensuring that, we've got 900 teachers, that not everyone is functioning like an independent contractor. And the same with all of our schools. We want our students and our families to experience the same great level and quality of education, no matter what school they choose to go to. And so that piece has been important. And for us, we came in, we know the statistics. Superintendents are around for about 3 years. In districts. That's what the data says across the nation, and we have experienced that in our district, and so we wanted to put something in place that would last if we're not here.
So the assistant superintendent is kind of assumed to be next in line to be the superintendent. Is that what you want to do?
No.
No. All right, Josh, you
I'm a
better
great
get
number
busy
two.
finding the new, lining up the next superintendent, because count her out.
When it comes to, this is just really interesting. You said putting systems in place to make the performance or the outcomes more predictable. That's really interesting. I think that when I hear my own kids, I have 5 children, and they've all said different things about their teachers, and there's always the favorite teacher and the teacher that, for different reasons, but to me, that seems like the biggest variable in a student's experience at school is the teacher. And, sometimes the teacher meshes well with, most of the class, and sometimes it's, less or whatever. But what do you do to kind of improve that experience for the student with the teacher? I don't know if that's a good question or not, but
so one of the things that is in place and that we're keeping in place is a way that we develop relationships, rather a framework with our students called Capturing Kids' Hearts. And so you'll see in every classroom that we have a social contract. We have questions that we ask students when they're getting off track. We have an expectation for how often we interact with students. And so that's one way that a system and keeping that going would impact the student relationship. And then another one that I just dealt with yesterday was, we're working on standardizing our grading practices, because we don't want a student to experience, something with one teacher and have that expectation and not have it with another. And so, yeah.
All right, we got to take a break, and I got another question for Ryan here on, the cameras in the schools, and also, is college isn't for everybody, and how is that changing? Classrooms to careers, some other great programs. We're running short on time, but we'll get to it all when we come back on Free for All Friday.
Hi folks, Bill Gallagher with SolarFit here. Have you ever thought about utilizing solar power for your home or business? Well, there's never been a better time to plug into the sun and stop renting electricity. How would you like to let your roof start paying you each month? Give us a call at 445-7606. That's 445-7606. Or visit us at solarfit.com and set yourself free.
Solar Fit your life and set yourself free with the sun's free energy.
At Dignity Memorial Providers, Craig Flagler Palms Funeral Home and Flagler Memorial Gardens deliver compassionate care, personalized service, and exceptional customer satisfaction. There are options for everyone and discounts for pre-planning. They're always happy to show you their facility. Learn more at dignitymemorial.com.
Radio remains highly effective for political advertising. It reaches 83% of Americans weekly, offering cost-effective targeting of specific demographics and regions. Recent studies show radio can increase campaign reach by 12% without extra budget, especially among light TV viewers and swing voters. To advertise on Flagler Broadcasting radio stations, contact Kirk Keller. Kirk@flaglerbroadcasting.com.
Hey, we're back wrapping it up here. All the people that keep our Flagler County schools running and operating and doing well. It's I think I'm speaking on behalf of the entire audience listening. We appreciate what you do and how important it really is. Classroom to careers. I've stopped into some of those, and it's like, it used to be kind of back in the day, well, if you're not going to college, you must be an idiot or something. And you took family pressure and all that. Where are you going to college, son? And you go, well, I don't really know. I think Bill Gates said, if anybody asks, he told all the high school kids, if anybody says, what do you want to do? It's okay to say, I'm not quite sure yet. Like, what do you want to do with the rest of your life? And all those kind of questions. It's really kind of an unfair question, because a lot of kids that I know, they got pushed off to college and they learned to be an attorney. And they hate it. They wish they had done something else, but they kind of got forced down that line. And I've told the story of a friend of mine. He'd drive to work, and he'd be up all night studying cases and things because he had to go to court. And one mistake, and this guy goes to jail, and he drives by and he sees a carpenter building a house, and he's like, God, I wish I was a carpenter. I mean, that would have what his passion is. And so, so I think it's okay to wait to find your passion, but keep looking around and try this and go there. But I think it's also important for parents at young ages to take your kids to things. You never know where some little kid goes, wow, like Roy Seeger at the airport. His dad took him to see the Blue Angels when he was 5 years old, sitting on his shoulders, and he's like, that's what I want to do. Now he was in the military and things. So I think forcing, people kind of off that ledge is, and we have a great program here in the schools, the Classroom to Careers. So if you want to just briefly, because we're kind of short on time, Dr. Angela, just tell us tell the audience what the Classroom to Careers is about.
Sure. So we have, I would say, different interest areas in each of our elementaries that really grow through their elective experiences in the middle schools, and then in high schools, actual programs of study or academies, as we call them. And they're in all different areas, from allied health to criminal justice, aeronautics, all sorts of things. So and our goal is really that we get students interested. We figure out, we have a system, it's called Zello, that they can do some interest surveys, that sort of thing, to figure out what they want to do, what they're interested in, and we really just want to get them involved in a program. I mean,
like I've seen Advent with hospital beds over there, and I see the rescue squad with all their gear and the kids doing that and being firemen. And then I went into the wood shop, and they're building a tiny house from scratch, the kids, right? And then they're going to sell those, or explain that.
This is not the home ec of old, where LaShaka says we used to be huddled around one stove making a dish. That is not the case. Our kids are working in industrial kitchens. We've got an industrial workspace for carpentry, and so it's the real deal.
Well, and then bragging, my granddaughter, Alana, if you ever go to Longhorn, ask for Alana and tip heavily. But she's 21, and she loved the culinary program at FPC, and she just bought her own house, with her own money, no help from me or anybody, and she saved up her money, and she just, bought her own house here in Palm Coast. So that's her passion, though. She loves doing that.
That's great.
Hey, I need to ask you, Ryan. I wanted to ask you when I got sidetracked myself here. The cameras in the schools, all right? I was watching in China. Trump's over in China, And they go, if a Chinese person crosses the street and jaywalks, he instantly gets a jaywalking ticket because of the facial recognition. You don't even get across the street before you go, ding, you just jaywalked and you get fined on this thing. So do we have facial recognition in our schools? And if not, should we?
We do not, but I will also say we have 1,200 cameras that are strategically placed throughout our campuses, and we work with the Sheriff's Department. They do annual reviews with us to identify locations and spaces and things that it's most appropriate. So we really look at it as a security measure. We do not do any facial recognition.
And wouldn't it be a good thing?
So I'll give you an example that I feel would be a good thing related to we'll say an AI integration, because facial recognition is definitely from an AI standpoint. I am not pro facial recognition. There's some things actually in legislation that kind of prevent us as a school district to do that. But I will say what we have looked at is when, let's say there's an identified person on one of our campuses. And we say, okay, this person is in a blue hoodie with a triangle on the front, black blue jeans. Having the ability to put that in and have AI help identify where that print, so to speak, has occurred on our campuses is a huge benefit. So that's something that we've been working through a little bit with our sheriffs, and how that can impact the safety of our students when they're on campus.
I mean, most people now, it's like, okay, I'm always on camera. Hey, right now, we're all on camera. I thought this was radio. You know? I've had people come in here like they're not dressed, like we used to dress Brian before we had camera. Look at Brian, how good he looks, by the way. He used to come in here with a T-shirt and
backwards hat.
Yeah. And then people come in there and go, oh my God, you have got cameras in here? I would have dressed for it, whatever. But everybody's on camera all the time anywhere. Don't you just kind of, when you're walking down the street, it's like, you expect to be on camera, don't you? Do you feel that way, Josh?
I think so. I mean, but you even go to a self-checkout at Target or Walmart, and you're always on camera, and I get to look at myself, and my daughters get to wave, and they're so happy when we're doing this. But it's unfortunately, it's just the time that we're in. It's heavy on surveillance.
I guess so. Nancy, does that bother you that you're on camera all the time? Right now, wave at the camera, say hi to everybody.
I'd rather not, but but you expect it, so you should always conduct yourself as if you're on camera or someone's watching.
Do you have enough staff to do all the custodial things you do at the school? Are you hiring?
Yes, we are always hiring, but we do have enough staff. We have a lot of lifers inside our department. So when we have about 6 people that's retiring, so we like to bring on new talent. Just a fun fact, me and Mr. Joshua Walker, we started together orientation on the first day. And so we have a little history together. So we have a lot of lifers inside custodial department.
How did you get your job there? I'm sure you didn't say as a little girl, someday.
Absolutely not. I started as a parent in the district, and I used to go to the schools and volunteer. And then LaShaka Moore said, why don't you work here? You're here all the time volunteering. And from there, I applied for custodian, and I worked my way up from part-time to director.
Well, God love you. I think that's a cool story. That's a great success story.
No, it is. Flagler County Schools has been awesome to me and my family. Both of my kids came up in the district, and one went to homeschooling after the COVID, and the other graduated early after having an intervention through the school district. So this district cares.
All right. Well, thank you for being a part of our school system. I love hearing stories like that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Okay. Well, keep up the good job, right? Hey, I got to ask, Josh, do you also fire people?
It's a part of the job from time to time to go ahead and have those difficult conversations when there are folks with our district that are unfortunately no longer going to be continuing in their role for a variety of reasons. And
I like how you word that.
Yeah,
you're no longer
sounds like
be,
you've said those things.
You're fired.
No.
You don't say that?
No.
Are you kind of gentle about it? How do you tell somebody, and do they cry?
Well, fortunately for the district as well as our employees, we have various systems in place as it relates to employee discipline. There's certain things that have to be followed. I don't just sit to go in and go, hey, you're done today, goodbye, and there's no, no back and forth regarding that. There's a lot of what we do in the public school system that's based on state statute. Certain personnel are on annual contracts, others are not. Some are tenured if they've been with the district for, a long time, and others are on a 1-year contract. I'm on a 1-year contract. Every year it's, hey, okay, it's August, I get to come back, sounds great. But that's where we're at. But as we look forward to the next school year, what's really exciting is we have the opportunity to bring more individuals into our school district, because during this time you have folks going, hey, I'm going to retire 35 years, 40 years with the district. And now is the time to bring more folks back into the fold. So I encourage folks to check out our website at flaglerschools.schoolspring.com for our job board. Those vacancies are getting posted every day, between now and through summer. So I encourage folks to check it out.
All right. You can be like Nancy and, do what you like to do, and you never knew that's what you would be doing.
Absolutely not, but I love it.
That's pretty cool. Hey, we got to go. Ryan, good seeing you again, as always.
David, you as well.
And any
Pleasure.
final words of wisdom before we cut you loose?
Looking forward to closing out this year and rolling into next. We're excited about it, and we're smiling and hopeful for when we get some of that information from the Department of Education back. So I almost wear my making Flagler an A shirt.
You got your.
I still have.
What's your
it.
prediction, Ryan?
I don't want to overstep. It's not really my spot, but I'm telling you, I have a shirt that says "Your A District" on it.
You're ready to put it on? Huh?
Yes.
All right.
All right. What are the
Sitting behind
odds?
my desk.
Okay. Yeah. What's the spread? Okay. And so final words from Dr. Angela O'Brien, and then we got to go.
Yeah, thanks for having us. I'll take this quote from Bunnell Elementary School. We are in our A school era. So
very good.
All right. Very good. Don Foley, thanks for putting it all together today. Brian, thanks for coming by, as
Thank you,
always.
sir.
Free for All Friday. Everybody have a safe, good weekend. And take care of each other. And make sure the kids go to public school. All right.
Serving Flagler County for a decade and a half. WNZF, 1550 AM, 94.9 FM HD3, and W235CW Bunnell.
This local news is a service of Flagler